Have you ever wondered how some people just know what you're thinking without you saying a word? How do they understand that you're nervous, confident, or even lying? Imagine this. You are sitting in a meeting. The person across from you is smiling, but their eyes are telling a completely different story. They're saying yes, but their body language is screaming no. If you could read these signals, how much more successful could you be in life? In today's journey, we're going to learn exactly that. How to turn every person into an open book. How you can decode body language, facial expressions, and hidden emotions. How you can become better at relationships, master negotiations, and gain that advantage in life that only a few people have. So get ready, because today you're going to learn Read People Like a Book. You're listening to Story Reads, where every book brings a new lesson. Every story offers new perspective. Let's begin today's journey. The hidden world of human communication. What's the most powerful skill in life? Public speaking? Confidence? Or communication? All are important, but there's one skill that surpasses them all, and that's people reading. When you can accurately read people, you know what they really want, what they're thinking, and most importantly, how they'll react. This skill makes you unstoppable in both personal and professional worlds. But the problem is, we're never taught this in school. We learn mathematics, science, history, but human psychology? Body language? Reading emotions? We learn all of this through trial and error, and sometimes we make very costly mistakes. Today we're going to fill that gap. We'll take a deep dive into human behavior and understand how every gesture, every expression, every word choice reveals something. The foundation. Why do we miss the obvious signals? First, let's understand, why do we miss so much? Imagine a typical day. You're talking to your friend. They're looking at you, nodding along, but their phone is in their hand. Do you notice? Probably not, because most of us focus on words in conversation, not on signals. Research shows that in human communication, only 7% of information comes from words. 7%. Another 30% comes from tone, and an impressive 63% from body language. This means if you're only listening to words, you're missing 93% of the information. This happens because our brain takes shortcuts. We assume that if someone is saying I'm fine, then they must be fine. But reality check. Their slumped shoulders, forced smile, and avoiding eye contact, all of these are screaming that they're not fine. So learn the first rule. Trust actions more than words. Because words come from the conscious mind, which can lie, but body language comes from the subconscious mind, which almost never lies. Chapter 1. The language of the body. Let's start with the most obvious signals, body language. To understand body language, we need to think like a detective. One signal isn't enough. We need to look for clusters, meaning multiple signals that together give the same message. Arms and hands, the truth tellers. Hands tell us a lot. When someone crosses their arms, what's the common perception? They're defensive, closed off. But here's where context matters. If someone is standing under the air conditioner and crossing their arms, they might just be cold. But if you're presenting an idea and suddenly the person crosses their arms, leans back, and their jaw tightens, then understand that they've mentally rejected your idea even if they verbally say yes. There's another interesting hand signal, hiding. When people are nervous or hiding something, they put their hands in their pockets or keep them under the table. This is a subconscious defensive mechanism. Let me give you a personal example. I had a colleague who, whenever they went to client meetings, kept their hands openly on the table, palms visible. Their deal conversion rate was the highest in the team. Coincidence? No. Open hands means openness and honesty. Clients subconsciously trusted them. On the opposite end, if someone has their fist clenched while talking, They're internally stressed or angry, even if their face looks calm.
Legs and feet, the honest pointers. Now let's talk about the most honest body parts, legs and feet. Why are they so honest? Because we naturally don't pay attention to them. Our focus is mostly on the face and upper body. Feet direction tells us a lot. If you're talking to someone and their feet are pointing toward the door or in a different direction, then subconsciously they want to exit the conversation. But if the feet are pointing toward you, they're genuinely interested. Imagine an interview. Everything seems fine with the candidate. They're giving good answers too. But notice, one leg is constantly bouncing or the feet are tapping. This is nervous energy. They're projecting confidence with words, but their body is revealing anxiety. Another powerful signal is leg crossing. When someone crosses their legs tightly and curls up a bit, they're in defensive mode or feeling uncomfortable. An open leg stance generally shows confidence and comfort. Posture, the silent statement. Your posture says a lot about you, whether you speak or not. Walk into a room and observe. The people sitting slouched, shoulders drooped, chin down, their energy level is low or they're lacking confidence. On the opposite end, people sitting with straight posture, chest open, shoulders back, they radiate confidence. But this isn't just perception. Studies prove that power poses actually change your hormones. When you take a confident posture, your testosterone increases and your cortisol, stress hormone, decreases. So, fake it till you make it actually works. Leaning is also an important signal. When someone leans toward you in conversation, they're interested, engaged. If they're consistently leaning back, then they're either bored, uncomfortable, or internally disagreeing with you. A real-life scenario. Your friend is telling you something, seems excited, but when you share your story, they lean back a bit, cross their arms. What does this tell you? They're not genuinely interested in what you're saying. Maybe they're jealous, or they feel like you're one-upping them. Chapter 2. The face never lies, or does it? Face reading is the most challenging and rewarding skill because the face has 43 muscles that can create thousands of expressions. And the best part? Many facial expressions are universal across cultures. The eyes, windows to the soul. Eyes tell a story isn't just a romantic line, it's scientific truth. Let's talk about eye contact first. How much eye contact is ideal? Research says approximately 60 to 70% of the time during conversation. If someone is maintaining too much eye contact without breaking, they're either trying to intimidate or deliberately trying to appear trustworthy. If someone is consistently avoiding eye contact, they might be nervous, feeling guilty, or culturally trained to be respectful. But I have a better indicator: eye blocking. When people hear uncomfortable information or feel uncomfortable, they subconsciously want to block or cover their eyes. Have you ever noticed that when you give someone bad news, they rub their eyes or briefly close them? That's eye blocking. Pupil dilation is also a powerful signal, though it's a bit difficult to detect. When you see something you like or that excites you, your pupils dilate. The opposite is also true. When you dislike something, pupils constrict. Professional poker players watch this signal very closely. The smile, genuine or fake? Differentiating smiles is very important. There's a clear difference between a genuine smile and a fake smile. A genuine smile, also called a Duchenne smile, involves not just the mouth but the eyes too. When someone is genuinely happy, wrinkles appear at the corners of their eyes, called crow's feet. The cheeks automatically raise and the whole face lights up. A fake smile, only the lips are involved. The eyes are dead, no crinkles, and the timing is off too, either too quick or too long. Do an observation exercise. Look at someone's photos on social media. In photos where there's genuine happiness, there will be that sparkle in the eyes. In photos where they're just posing for the camera, the smile will look mechanical. This skill is gold in the workplace. If your boss is complimenting you but the smile isn't genuine, then understand it's just a formality. But if the smile is genuine, they're really impressed with you. Microexpressions, the fleeting truth. Now we come to microexpressions. These are quick flashes that appear for barely a second or even less. These are pure, unfiltered emotions that can't be consciously controlled. There are 7 basic emotions that create universal microexpressions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. For example, if you give someone news and a brief expression of disgust flashes on their face before they smile, then subconsciously they didn't like that news. Their polite response is fake. Why are these microexpressions so important? Because they bypass conscious control. Your conscious mind can lie, but your face reveals this split-second truth. Real-world application? Imagine you're negotiating. You quote a price, and the brief expression of surprise appears on the other person's face. This means the price is less or more than expected. If surprise is mixed with a little bit of happiness, you've quoted low. If surprise is mixed with concern, you've quoted high. Professional interrogators and FBI agents extensively study these microexpressions because they're extremely useful in lie detection. Chapter 3: The Power of Voice and Speech Patterns. What words say is important, but how they're said is more important. Tone and pitch, the emotional carriers. Your voice is a direct carrier of your emotions. When you're excited, your pitch naturally becomes high, speed increases. When you're sad or depressed, the voice becomes monotonous, slows down, pitch lowers. The interesting thing is that we try to consciously control our tone, but perfect control is difficult. That's why if someone says, "I'm not angry," but their voice is tight, pitch slightly high, and words measured, they're definitely angry. Tone also reveals sarcasm. Same words, different tone, completely different meaning. "Great job," said in a genuine tone, is a compliment. Said in a sarcastic tone is an insult. Speed and pauses, the thought indicators. Speech speed reveals a lot. When someone speaks very fast, there can be reasons. They're excited, nervous, or deliberately want to finish the conversation quickly. Slow speech generally indicates thoughtfulness or careful wording when someone is lying or manipulating. Observe pauses and hesitations. When someone is telling the truth, speech has a natural flow, but when someone is constructing a lie in real time, unnatural pauses come. More fillers are used, like, like. There's an interesting technique that interrogators use. They deliberately pause after asking a question. In uncomfortable silence, people give more information because filling silence is human nature. Try it sometime. If someone is telling you something incomplete, you just wait silently. Maintain eye contact. High chances are they'll give additional information. Word choice, the subconscious reveals. The words people choose aren't accidental. They reveal thought patterns and emotions. When someone hedges a lot in their statements, "I think," "maybe," "probably," "might be," they're either uncertain or don't want to commit. If someone uses very absolute terms, always, never, everyone, they're exaggerating or in an emotional state. Pronouns are also important. When people lie, they consciously or unconsciously create distance. Instead of, "I went to the store," they might say, "the store was visited." They avoid personal pronouns. Another interesting pattern: when there are problems in relationships, the couple's language shifts from we to I and you. "We need to talk" becomes "you never listen" and "I always have to." Chapter 4: Understanding Contexts and Baselines. So far we've learned individual signals, but there's a critical concept that brings all of this together: context and baseline. Why context is king. Judging a signal in isolation is the biggest mistake beginners make. Arms crossed, defensive or cold, sweating, nervous, or is the room hot? Fast speech, excited or anxious. The answer always depends on context. Context means situation, environment, and cultural background. A gesture that's acceptable in India might be offensive in Japan. What's appropriate in a professional setting might seem weird in a casual setting. Example, if someone is smiling at a funeral, it automatically seems suspicious. But if they're sharing memories and temporarily smiling, it's completely normal. Same action, different context, different meaning. Establishing baselines is the game changer. Baseline means what the person's normal behavior is. Understanding this is essential because every person is different. Some people are naturally more fidgety. Some naturally maintain less eye contact. If you don't know the baseline and just follow textbook signals, you can reach wrong conclusions. How to establish a baseline? Simple. Observe when the person is comfortable and relaxed. How do they talk in normal conversation? How do they stand? How much eye contact do they maintain? Where do they keep their hands? Once the baseline is set, deviations become easy to spot. If someone who's normally very expressive suddenly becomes withdrawn, something's wrong. If someone who's normally reserved suddenly becomes overly friendly, they want something or are uncomfortable. Professional poker players master this technique. They first observe a few hands just to establish how the opponent normally behaves. After that, deviations become tells. Chapter 5. Detecting Deception. Now we come to a topic that fascinates everyone: lie detection. Common myths about lying. First, let's bust some myths. No, liars don't always touch their nose. No, looking left or right doesn't specifically indicate lying. No, polygraphs aren't perfect either. The truth is that no single behavior can definitively prove lying, but a cluster of multiple behaviors combined with baseline deviations can give high accuracy. Verbal cues of deception. When people lie, their verbal patterns change. First, there's a consistency problem in the story. If you ask the same question in different ways at different times, a truthful person will be consistent. A liar's story will have contradictions or details will change. Second, liars give unnecessary details. It seems counterintuitive, but it's true. When someone is creating a cover story, they want to convince you, so they over-explain. I went home, turned on the TV, watched the news, which was boring, then put the remote on the table, went to the kitchen. Truth is simple. Went home and rested. Third, there's temporal sequencing problems. A truthful person can tell a story chronologically easily. For a liar, it's difficult because arranging a fabricated story in sequential order is challenging.
Nonverbal cues of deception. Body language also changes when lying. Grooming gestures increase, like adjusting collar, touching hair, straightening clothes. These are self-soothing behaviors that reduce anxiety. Illustrators decrease. Illustrators are those hand gestures that naturally come with conversation. When someone is lying, cognitive load is higher, so natural gestures reduce. There's incongruence between body and words. Someone is saying, "Yes, I'm happy," but slightly shaking their head indicating no. Conscious words are lying. Subconscious body is telling the truth. Barrier creation happens. The liar subconsciously wants to create a physical barrier between them and you. They place objects in between or raise their hand when talking. The best lie detection technique. The best technique is ask open-ended questions and silently observe. Instead of asking, "Did you do it?" ask, "Tell me what happened." Let them talk. It's difficult for liars to maintain long, fabricated stories. Details will confuse. Timeline issues will come. And remember, observe clusters, not single signals. One signal might be coincidence, but multiple signals together strongly indicate deception. Chapter 6. Reading Emotions Beyond the Surface. Emotions are complex and often layered. Something on the surface, something else underneath. Primary emotions and their signals. There are 7 primary emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, contempt. We've already covered happiness, genuine smile versus fake smile. Sadness has clear signals: drooping eyelids, downturned mouth corners, low energy, monotone voice, slumped posture. Anger is visible: tightened jaw, narrowed eyes, clenched fists, forward-leaning posture, raised voice pitch. Fear has subtle signs: widened eyes, raised eyebrows, slightly open mouth, tense body, sometimes freezing in place. Surprise is brief: eyebrows shoot up, eyes widen, jaw drops momentarily. If a surprise expression is too long, it might be fake. Disgust is distinct: nose wrinkled, upper lip raised, sometimes a slight turning away. Contempt is interesting: one side mouth raise, like a slight smirk on one side. This emotion shows superiority and disdain. Hidden emotions: what people try to conceal. What people feel, they don't always express. Especially in professional settings, there's an expectation to regulate emotions. How to identify masked emotions? Observe leakage signals, brief microexpressions, incongruent body language, voice tension, forced neutrality. If someone is overly controlled, too still, too measured, too neutral, they're definitely suppressing something. Natural human expression has variation. An example: a manager is giving you feedback very calmly, but their hands are tightly clenched under the table or gripping a pen too forcefully. Verbally, they're controlled, but physically, they're frustrated or angry. Emotional contagion, the ripple effect. Emotions are contagious. When you spend time with a happy person, you also feel uplifted. When you're with a negative person, your mood goes down. This is scientifically proven through mirror neurons. We automatically start mimicking others' emotions. Use this phenomenon. If you want a meeting to be positive, bring positive energy. If you want to calm someone down, first become calm yourself. Your emotional state influences others. This is extremely important in leadership. A leader's emotional state has a direct impact on the team. Stressed leader, stressed team. Confident leader, confident team.
Behavioral patterns, predictable responses. In certain situations, people follow predictable patterns based on their personality. Under stress, some people go into fight mode, aggressive, confrontational. Some go into flight mode, withdrawing, avoiding. Some freeze, paralyzed, unable to decide. Observe these patterns. If you know your colleague withdraws under stress, then when they're suddenly quiet, you can understand they're stressed, even without them saying it. Conflict handling is also pattern-based. Some people avoid conflict at all costs. Some people confront directly. Some people become passive-aggressive. Once a pattern is established, predicting future behavior becomes easier. Adapting your approach. The best communicators are those who can adapt their style according to the other person's personality. If someone is detail-oriented, give them details, data. If someone is a big-picture thinker, give them overview, vision. If someone is a slow processor, give them time to think. If someone is a quick decision maker, prolonged discussions will frustrate them. This flexibility is a skill that develops with practice. Initially, it takes conscious effort, but eventually it becomes natural.
Chapter 8. Power Dynamics and Status Signals. Every interaction has underlying power dynamics. Understanding these gives you an advantage. Recognizing dominance behaviors. Dominance is displayed in both subtle and not so subtle ways. Space occupation is a clear signal. High-status individuals take more space. They sit sprawled out in meetings, arms wide, legs spread. Lowest-status individuals are compact, take minimum space. Touch is also a power indicator. Notice who touches whom. Generally, a higher-status person touches a lower-status person. Pat on the back, hand on shoulder. The reverse rarely happens. There's also a difference in eye contact patterns. Dominant individuals maintain intense eye contact when speaking, but can break it when others speak. Submissive individuals maintain more eye contact when others speak, less when they themselves speak. Observe interruptions. In meetings, who interrupts whom? Generally, a higher status person interrupts a lower status person without hesitation. Lower status rarely interrupts higher status. Submission and deference signals. There are also clear signals of submission. Neck exposure is an instinctive submission signal. When someone tilts their neck sideways, especially in front of someone, they're subconsciously showing deference. Lower body positioning. Someone making themselves physically smaller, shoulders hunched, chin down, indicates submission. There's also verbal deference. Excessive politeness, constant agreeing, hedging statements with qualifiers, all of these indicate a lower power position. Leveling the playing field. If you want to balance the power dynamic, you can consciously use dominant signals. Maintain good posture, occupy space confidently without being aggressive, keep appropriate eye contact, give a firm handshake, speak clearly without excessive hedging, but important point, project authentic confidence, not fake.
Behavioral patterns. Predictable responses. In certain situations, people follow predictable patterns based on their personality. Under stress, some people go into fight mode, aggressive, confrontational. Some go into flight mode, withdrawing, avoiding. Some freeze, paralyzed, unable to decide. Observe these patterns. If you know your colleague withdraws under stress, then when they're suddenly quiet, you can understand they're stressed, even without them saying it. Conflict handling is also pattern-based. Some people avoid conflict at all costs. Some people confront directly. Some people become passive-aggressive. Once a pattern is established, predicting future behavior becomes easier. Adapting your approach. The best communicators are those who can adapt their style according to the other person's personality. If someone is detail-oriented, give them details, data. If someone is a big-picture thinker, give them overview, vision. If someone is a slow processor, give them time to think. If someone is a quick decision-maker, prolonged discussions will frustrate them. This flexibility is a skill that develops with practice. Initially, it takes conscious effort, but eventually, it becomes natural. Chapter 8. Power Dynamics and Status Signals. Every interaction has underlying power dynamics. Understanding these gives you an advantage. Recognizing dominance behaviors. Dominance is displayed in both subtle and not-so-subtle ways. Space occupation is a clear signal. High-status individuals take more space. They sit sprawled out in meetings, arms wide, legs spread. Low-status individuals are compact, take minimum space. Touch is also a power indicator. Notice who touches whom. Generally speaking, a higher status person touches a lower status person. Pat on back, hand on shoulder. The reverse rarely happens. There's also a difference in eye contact patterns. Dominant individuals maintain intense eye contact when speaking, but can break it when others speak. Submissive individuals maintain more eye contact when others speak, less when they themselves speak. Observe interruptions. In meetings, who interrupts whom? Generally, a higher status person interrupts a lower status person without hesitation. Lower status rarely interrupts higher status. Submission and deference signals, there are also clear signals. Neck exposure is an instinctive submission signal. When someone tilts their neck sideways, especially in front of someone, they're subconsciously showing deference. Lower body positioning, someone making themselves physically smaller, shoulders hunched, chin down, indicates submission. There's also verbal deference, excessive politeness, constant agreeing, hedging statements with qualifiers. All of these indicate a lower power position. Leveling the playing field. If you want to balance the power dynamic, you can consciously use dominant signals. Maintain good posture. Occupy space confidently without being aggressive. Keep appropriate eye contact. Give a firm handshake. Speak clearly without excessive hedging. But important point, project authentic confidence, not fake dominance. People subconsciously feel the difference. Chapter 9. Building Rapport and Connection. People reading isn't just about observation. It's also about building connection. Mirroring, the subtle art of connection. Mirroring is a powerful technique for building rapport. It means suddenly matching the other person's body language, speech patterns, or energy level. When you suddenly match someone's gestures, posture, or speaking pace, they subconsciously feel that you're similar, that you understand them. This creates comfort and trust. But the key word is subtly. If you're obviously copying, it'll seem creepy and backfire. It should be natural, not mimicry. Example, if someone is leaning forward talking enthusiastically, you also lean forward a bit showing engagement. If someone is calm and measured, you tone down your energy. Active listening, the foundation of understanding. The most underrated skill is genuine listening. People generally wait for their turn to speak in conversation. They're not actually listening. In true active listening, you're fully present, genuinely interested. Signals of active listening, nodding, appropriate verbal acknowledgments like, I see, maintaining good eye contact, asking relevant follow-up questions, not interrupting. When you genuinely listen, people feel valued and heard. This is the strongest connection builder. Finding common ground. Shared interests and experiences create instant bonds. Observe clues in conversation. What's in the background? What hobbies do they mention? On what topic do they become animated? When you find commonality and connect on it, rapport increases exponentially. But warning, don't fake common interests. Authenticity always wins. If you're not genuinely interested, don't force it. Find something else that genuinely resonates. Chapter 10. Reading Romantic Interest. This topic interests everyone. How to know if someone is romantically interested or not. The universal signs of attraction are consistent across cultures. We already discussed pupil dilation. When someone is attracted, pupils naturally dilate. This is difficult to see in darkness, but observable in good lighting. Proximity seeking. An attracted person wants to come physically closer. Personal space boundaries naturally reduce. If someone consistently finds reasons to come near you, sits close, touches unnecessarily, strong indicator. Preening behaviors. When you like someone, you subconsciously try to improve your appearance, touching hair, adjusting clothes, straightening posture when that person is near. Mirroring happens naturally in attraction. Observe a couple who are interested in each other. Their body language automatically synchronizes. They lean forward together, use similar gestures, take similar positions.
Gender-specific signals. Though there are individual differences, some patterns are generally observable. Women who are interested generally do playful hair touching, give neck exposure, give genuine smiles, and maintain eye contact followed by looking away. This is the classic flirtation pattern. Men who are interested generally puff their chest slightly, put shoulders back, occupy space confidently, and remain completely oriented toward the woman. Voice changes also happen. Interested individuals slightly modify their voice, sometimes softer, sometimes deeper, depending on what they think is attractive. The disinterest signals. It's equally important to know when someone is not interested. Creating physical distance, turning body away, minimal eye contact, short responses, checking phone frequently, looking around the room, closed body language. These are all clear indicators of disinterest. If you're seeing these signals consistently, respect it and back off. Persistence in the face of disinterest is never attractive. Chapter 11. Professional settings. Reading colleagues and clients. In the workplace, people reading skills can be career-defining. Job interviews, both sides of the table. If you're the interviewee, reading the interviewer is helpful. Are they genuinely interested in your answers? Are they nodding, taking notes, maintaining eye contact? Good signs. If they're looking at the clock, checking their phone, or giving monotone responses, then either your performance is weak or they've already made their decision. If you're the interviewer, check the candidate's authenticity. Overly rehearsed answers can seem robotic. A healthy mix of genuine enthusiasm and nervousness is generally a good sign. If a candidate is too smooth without any natural hesitation, they might be excessively practiced or dishonest. Reading your boss. Reading your boss is a professional survival skill. When is their mood good? Are they a morning person or energetic in the afternoon? When you go to make an important request, timing matters. What's their communication style? Are they detail-oriented or do they prefer big picture? Are they direct or diplomatic? When you report or give a proposal, tailor it according to their style. Observe stress signals. When they're stressed, how do they behave? Do they become short-tempered? Do they withdraw? Avoid unnecessary demands in these moments. Client meetings and negotiations. In sales and negotiations, reading the client is critical. Look for buying signals, leaning forward, asking detailed questions, discussing implementation, bringing up budget topics, involving other decision makers. These are signs the deal is progressing. Objection signals, leaning back, arms crossed, skeptical expressions, frequent interruptions with but statements, talking about competitors. Address these concerns immediately. Also identify power dynamics. Who's the actual decision maker in the room? Sometimes titles are misleading. Observe who others defer to, whose opinion is given more weight. Chapter 12. Cultural differences. Avoiding misinterpretation. Body language and communication styles are culturally influenced. This awareness is crucial in diverse settings. Universal versus cultural signals. Some signals are universal. Facial expressions of the 7 basic emotions are mostly the same globally. Genuine smile, fear expression, disgust. These are cross-culturally consistent. But many gestures are culturally specific. Head shaking. In most cultures, it's no, but in some cultures, it's yes. Thumbs up. Positive in some places, offensive in others. Eye contact also varies culturally. In Western cultures, direct eye contact shows confidence and honesty. But in some Asian and Middle Eastern cultures, excessive eye contact can be disrespectful, especially with elders or authority figures. Personal space preferences are also different. Latin American and Middle Eastern cultures are generally comfortable with closer proximity. Northern European and East Asian cultures generally prefer more physical distance.
High context versus low context cultures. In low context cultures like US, Germany, and Scandinavia, direct communication is preferred. The literal meaning of words is more important. Expectations are clearly stated. In high context cultures like Japan, India, and Arab countries, there's indirect communication. Context, relationships, and implied meanings are more important. Reading between the lines is essential. If you work in a cross-cultural environment, be extra observant. Ask questions respectfully. Don't assume. Learn about specific cultural norms of people you interact with. Adapting without stereotyping. There's an important balance between cultural awareness and individual recognition.
Yes, general patterns exist, but every individual is unique. Don't put everyone from a culture into the same box. Use cultural knowledge as a starting point, not an end point. Observe, adapt, respect. When you show genuine effort to understand someone's background, people appreciate it even if you make mistakes. Chapter 13. Digital Communication. Reading Between the Lines. In the modern world, much communication is digital. Texts, emails, video calls. People reading applies here too, though differently. Text and email analysis. In written communication, there are no visual cues, but there's still much that's readable. Observe response time patterns. If someone normally responds quickly but suddenly becomes slow, something might be up. Maybe they're busy, maybe avoiding, maybe upset. Message length and detail level are also telling. If someone who normally gives elaborate responses is suddenly giving one-word replies, mood is off or interest is low. Punctuation and emoji usage also reflect personality and mood. Excessive exclamation marks can be genuine enthusiasm or forced enthusiasm. Complete absence of any expressive elements can indicate formal distance. Typos and errors increase when someone is rushed or in an emotional state. Very careful, edited messages can indicate the person is very conscious of their image. Video call body language. In video calls, there's limited visual access, mostly upper body and face, but it's still readable. Look at camera positioning. If someone is strategically angling their camera to hide something or look better, they're image conscious. What's the background? Clean and professional or messy? Deliberate choices or casual? These give personality glimpses. Gauge attention level. Where are the eyes looking? At the screen or somewhere else? Are they multitasking? Video on-off preferences are also significant. If someone consistently keeps camera off, they're either self-conscious, value privacy, or don't want to be fully engaged. Social media personas. Social media profiles reveal a lot, but they're filtered versions. Observe posting frequency and content themes. Someone constantly posting achievements might be showing off or genuinely accomplished and proud. Someone posting motivational quotes daily might need that inspiration personally. Photo choices are interesting. Those who prefer group photos seek social validation. Those who prefer solo photos are individualistic. No photos of self, but lots of landscapes or quotes, introvert or private person. Interaction style is also telling. Does someone engage in comments or just post and leave? Do they take a stance on controversial topics or stay neutral? Remember, social media is curated. In-person interaction is best for understanding the real person. Chapter 14. Protecting yourself when being read. As you're learning people reading, realize that others are reading you, consciously or unconsciously. Controlling your tells. Poker players try to minimize tells. You can also practice controlling your unconscious signals. Developing a poker face, maintaining a neutral expression when you don't want emotions revealed. Useful in negotiations and high-stakes situations. Use deliberate body language. If you want to appear confident but feel nervous, consciously take good posture, maintain steady eye contact, use controlled gestures. Your body will eventually influence your mind. But warning, being completely unreadable is also negative. People feel discomfort around people who are completely closed. Balance is needed. Authenticity versus strategy. This is a philosophical question. Should you deliberately manipulate your signals? Context matters. In professional negotiations, strategic image projection is acceptable. In personal relationships, authenticity is crucial. Best approach: be genuine generally, but be aware of signals you're sending. If you're creating an unwanted impression, consciously adjust. Example, if you're genuinely interested in an interview, but nervous body language is projecting disinterest, then consciously adjust to show interest properly. Privacy and boundaries. Just because you can read people doesn't mean you should constantly psychoanalyze everyone. Respect boundaries. If someone clearly doesn't want to share something, don't push. Use your skills for empathy and understanding, not manipulation. Building trust takes time. Premature analysis can be offensive. Sometimes just be present without constantly analyzing. Chapter 15. Developing your skills. Practice and growth. People reading is a skill that develops over a lifetime. It's a journey, not a destination.
Daily practice exercises. Do people watching in public places. Cafes, malls, parks. Observe without being creepy. Notice interactions. Predict what will happen based on body language. Then observe if you were right. Watch TV shows and movies with sound off. Try to understand the story from just visuals. This sharpens visual reading skills. Consciously observe in conversations. After every significant interaction, mentally review. What signals did I notice? What could I have missed? What did I learn about this person? Journaling is helpful. Note daily observations. Over time, patterns emerge and your awareness deepens. Learning from mistakes. You will make wrong interpretations. Accept it and learn. When you realize you misread someone, analyze why. Which signal was misleading? Did you miss context? Was there bias? The best learners are those who acknowledge their mistakes and adjust. Feedback and validation. When possible, validate your readings. Get honest feedback from close friends or family. When I did X, what did you think? You seemed upset yesterday. Was I right? Such conversations improve accuracy. In professional settings, results give feedback. If you read a client as interested and the deal closed, you got validation. If you misread and missed an opportunity, you got a lesson. Continuous learning. Psychology, body language, communication, these fields constantly evolve. New research keeps coming. Keep reading books, taking courses, following experts. Staying curious keeps skills sharp. Expose yourself to different perspectives. Every expert has a slightly different approach. Multiple viewpoints create comprehensive understanding. Chapter 16. Ethical Considerations. Great power comes with great responsibility. People reading skills are powerful and should be used ethically. The manipulation question. This skill can be used for manipulation. Sales tactics, emotional manipulation, deception, dark applications are possible. But this skill can also be used for empathy and genuine understanding. Better relationships, conflict resolution, helping others, positive applications are also powerful. The choice is yours. Character matters. Skills are neutral, application makes them good or bad. Respecting privacy and dignity. Just because you can read someone's emotions or thoughts doesn't give you the right to violate their privacy. If someone is clearly uncomfortable, back off. If someone is in a vulnerable moment, show empathy, don't take advantage. Treat people with dignity. Use your insights to be kind, not to be cruel. Building trust, not breaking it. Earning trust is hard, breaking it is easy. If you are consistently accurate at reading people without them telling you, it can seem a bit eerie too. Sometimes play dumb. Let people tell you things naturally instead of showing off that you already know. Keep confidences. If you have observed someone's vulnerability, don't gossip about it. Using skills for good. The best use of these skills, making others feel understood and valued. When you observe someone struggling emotionally, offer support. When you see someone excited about something, acknowledge it. Small acts of recognition based on accurate reading create deep connections. You seem stressed. Want to talk? I noticed you lit up when discussing that project. Tell me more.
These skills can become relationship superpowers when used with empathy. Conclusion: the journey of understanding. So here we are at the end of this journey. But the truth is, this is actually the beginning. What we've learned. We've explored the complex world of body language: hands, feet, posture, face, eyes. We've seen how tone and patterns matter beyond words. We've understood the importance of context and the value of establishing baselines. We've learned to detect deception, read emotions, recognize personality patterns. We've explored power dynamics, romantic attraction, professional settings, cultural differences, and digital communication. We've seen practice techniques and discussed ethical considerations. But this is all information. Real skill develops with actual application. The real power. The real power of people reading isn't in the insight. It's in the connection. When you genuinely understand someone, when you recognize their unspoken needs, when you give an appropriate response, that's when magic happens. This skill transforms relationships. You become a better collaborator at work. In personal life, you become a better partner, friend, family member. Conflicts resolve faster because you spot underlying issues. More opportunities come because you say the right things at the right time. But most important, you become a more empathetic person. This awareness that everyone is fighting their own battles, dealing with their own emotions, carrying their own stories, this perspective is transformative. Moving forward. Now you're equipped with knowledge, but knowledge without practice is worthless. Take practical steps starting today. Consciously observe in every conversation. Don't be judgmental, be curious. Seek validation for your interpretations. Apply these skills with empathy. Invest in continuous learning. Remember, perfection isn't the goal. Progress is the goal. Getting a little better every day than the previous day. The ultimate truth. The most important lesson I want to give you: people are complex. These skills give you better understanding, but completely reading someone might not even be possible. And maybe that's beautiful. Mystery and complexity are what make humans interesting. Use these skills humbly. Apply confidently, but not dogmatically. Be open to being wrong. Always be respectful. And, most important, use these skills to bring people together, not to push them apart. To build bridges, not walls. To create understanding, not division. Your next chapter. This audiobook is ending, but your journey has just begun. Every person you meet is a book waiting to be read. Every conversation is a lesson. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice and improve. The world is very connected, but emotionally very disconnected. People are desperate to be truly seen and understood. You can give them that. So go out there with open eyes, open ears, and open heart. Observe deeply, listen actively, connect genuinely. And remember, the best people readers aren't those who see through people, they are those who see people. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May your newfound skills bring wisdom, connection, and fulfillment to your life. This is Story Reads, signing off. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, keep growing. If you found this audiobook helpful, please subscribe to Story Reads. We regularly bring you informative and transformative content that can make a real difference in your life. Please share in the comments which insights you found most valuable and how you'll apply them in your life. And yes, share this audiobook with people who want to improve their people skills. Thank you once again. Take care and happy reading of the both books and people.